fluid light of the VIP cabin hung with irritating monotony that matched Jungkook's mood perfectly. He sat behind his massive desk, reviewing the plan for the third time. His building in the heat of Seoul had become the most luxurious cafe city had ever seen. There was just one tiny flower shop on the ground floor, a quite charming little flower shop run by someone who apparently had no idea who they were dealing with. Jungkook adjusted his $1,000 cufflink and pressed the intercom. Sent Mr. Kim in. His assistant nodded nervously. Yes, sir. He is very angry. Jungkook smiled. They always are. The door didn't open politely. It didn't swing open with careful hesitation. No, the door to Jungkook's VIP cabin flew open with such force that it crashed against the wall, shaking the frame certificate and award that hung there. A vision of pure firestorm into the room. Taehyung was stunned. There was no other word for it. His golden brown hair was slightly disheveled, falling across his forehead in soft waves. His eyes, the color of warm honey, buzzed with fury. He wore a simple white shirt with roll-up sleeves, revolving tan arms that were surprisingly toned. A smirk of dirt marked his cheeks from tending to his flower, but somehow it only made him more beautiful. In his hand, he clutches a stack of legal documents. Hung through the paper into Jungkook's desk with such force that a few sheets fluttered to the floor. Mr. Jeon, there are still 6 months left in the contract. If you ever try to touch my shop, I'll take you to court so badly that you won't even be able to drive around in that big car of yours. Jungkook opened his mouth to deliver his standard dismissal. He dealt with difficult tender before. He knew exactly how to say cold, professional, and dismissed, but the word in his throat. Taehyung wasn't backing down. He stood there, having first glint in his sight. There was no fear in those honey-colored eyes. No, just pure anger, fire. Jungkook has seen beautiful people before. He dated models, actresses, and like they were ready to the world down from what they believe in, and there was something else, something that made Jungkook's heart shudder in a way it never had before. Taehyung's beauty wasn't just surface level, it radiated from somewhere deep inside, a passionate soul that refused to be by powerful men like Jungkook. Why are you staring at me like that? Taehyung demanded, crossing his arms. Did you hit your head on that fancy desk of yours? Jungkook blinked. You cat got yours tongue, Mr. Landlord. Taehyung stepped closer, poking a finger at Jungkook. Let me make this perfectly clear. I built that shop from nothing. My grandmother left it to me, and I will prove my heart and soul into every single flower that grew there. You want to turn it into some solo's cafe? Fine, but not until my contract is up. and I'll fight you every single day. Until then, Jungkook's mind was racing. He had a set speech prepared, a careful argument about progress, modernization, and business industries. But standing here, looking in the most beautiful person I ever seen, Jungkook, uh, Honey could think this is the Jungkook. Clear his throat, try to recognize, compose himself. I applied. Then gleam. What? I said I applied. Jungkook repeated, surprising himself. You are right. The correct is wild for 6 more months. I should have sent that notice without proper consideration. Tang's expression shifted from worry to confusion. You are agreeing with me? Jungkook found himself smiling. It was a genuine smile, the kind that raised his eyes and made him look younger, less like the cold businessman everyone knew and more like the man he used to be before the world had handed him. I'm agree that you deserve to run yourself until the contract expires. Jungkook said, but I also want to let you know something. Taehyung tensed. What? What? I don't just want your shop. I want to know everything about the person who walked into the landlord's office and threw legal paper at him without blinking. Their mouth fall open. Excuse me? Jungkook leaned back in his chair, crossing his legs. Your name is Kim Taehyung, correct? Age 26. You've been running the floor shop for 3 years since your grandmother passed. You know from growing the most beautiful roses in Seoul, and your wedding agreements are supposedly legendary. Have you been investing me? Then dream. I always investing my tendons. Jungkook said smoothly. What I didn't expect was for the investing to involve someone so fancy. Then cheek and speak. Is this some kind of power play? You think you can charm me into leaving? Not at all. Jungkook stood up, walking around his cheek. He was taller than Taehyung's thought, not by much. Close enough that he could smell the faint fluorescence that made the two shop owner. I'm offering you a deal. Keep your shop for the remaining 6 months. No pressure, no meant from my security team, but I have one condition. Condition? Yes, Jungkook looked directly onto Taehyung. Let me take you to dinner tonight. Taehyung's jaw dropped. Are you insane? Ara tried to invite me an hour ago. What? Wagon offer doesn't matter. Matter is you already tried to take goodbye, Mr. Jian. He slammed the door behind him. Jungkook stood there in the silence, the ghost of a smile playing on his lips. 6 months, he thought. I have 6 months to change his mind. Little did he know the next 6 months would change everything. The construction began the very next day. Jungkook had promised not to Taehyung and he kept his word, but he didn't promise to be when materials were delivered to the building's entrance very morning at exactly at the same time Taehyung opened his shop. This morning, Jungkook was watching from his window on the fifth floor as he worked. Unloaded metals beamed directly in front of the flower shop. Below, he saw the door fly open. The shop owner marched out, hand on his back, dressed in his usual uniform of a simple shirt and fitted jeans. "Hey!" Taehyung shouted at the worker, "You are blocking my entrance." The worker murmured applauses but kept walking. It wasn't their fault. They were being paid by the man upstairs. Jungkook watched, entranced as Taehyung stormed back into his shop. A few minutes later, Taehyung emerged carrying a massive bundle of roses, but not just any roses, thorn roses, the most aggressively thrown ones he could find. He walked directly to Jungkook's expensive black sports car, the one he knew Jungkook was obsessed with, and arranged the roses carefully across the hood. He arranged them in the shape of a smile face, then stepped back to admire his work. Jungkook was already heading downstairs when he reached the entrance. Taehyung was standing beside the car, arms crossed, wearing an innocent expression that was anything but. "Mr. Jeon," Taehyung said sweetly, "I've been decorated your car with flowers. Be careful sitting." Jungkook approached, taking in the sense he Prince's black car was covered in beautiful red roses arranged across the hood. Jungkook was a hood. The throne were extensive, but the effort was gorgeous. "Oh, it's beautiful," Jungkook admitted. "Is this your way of saying you will forgive me?" "Forgive you?" Taehyung laughed. A musical sound that made Jungkook's heart escape. "This is my way of saying that every action has consequences, Mr. Landlord. I recommended you get your workers to move those materials before I decide to decorate your whole car. I'm sure your leadership would love a nice flower arrangement." Jungkook stepped close enough to see the challenge in Taehyung's eyes. "Have I mentioned that you've been more beautiful when you are angry?" Taehyung's composure cracked for just a moment. Stop saying these things like that. Why? You are true." "Because," Taehyung struggled for words, "because you are supposed to be my enemy. I don't see you as my enemy," Jungkook said softly. "See you as someone who stands up for what they believe in." "That's rare, Taehyung. That's suspicious and precious." Taehyung's cheek flashed that lovely pink color again. Stop looking at me like that." Like what, Mr. Kim?" "Like I am something you want to eat." Jungkook grinned. "Is that what you think I am thinking?" "I don't know. What are you thinking?" Taehyung admitted. I just know it. I just know it's made me feel weird, like I might actually be s- starting to. Then he stopped at himself, shaking his head. No, I'm not finishing that sentence. Starting to what? Jungkook pressed, stepping over closer. Taehoon back up, hitting the car. The roses crush brain him. Starting to like you? Taehoon whispered. Jungkook heart soared. Taehoon, don't. Taehoon won, holding up a hand. Don't make this complicated. My shop still need to survive and you are still trying to take it from me? Jungkook asked. Or am I trying to find a way to have both? Both. That would hung between them. It was the first time Jungkook had even considered the possibilities. Taehyung looked at him, a really look, and something shifted in his expression. What? What do you mean, both? Jungkook shrugged, trying to seem casual. I just think maybe there a way we can both get what we want. And what do you want, Mr. Jeon? Jungkook made his eyes. I want to see you smile. I want to see you every morning. I want to argue with you every afternoon. And I want to, he paused. I want to know what your laugh sound like. I never heard it before. I am guessing it's beautiful. Thanks, breathe catch. Oh, you are impossibly charming. You mean impossibly frustrating? Jungkook laughed. It was a genuine, warm laugh that seemed to surprise even him. Okay, I'll, I'll accept that, but will you at least do me the honor of accepting those? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Thanks. Is that a ring? Oh, relax. I'm not proposing. Jungkook opened the box to reveal a delicate silver bracelet with a small flower charm. It's a peace offering. I know I've been difficult, but I like to try being something else. It's beautiful, Taehyung whispered, touching the charm gently, but I can't accept it. Why not? Because then I might actually started liking you for real and I can't afford that. Jungkook said softly. Maybe you can. He reached out gently, taking Taehyung's waist and fastening the bracelet and their skin touched, and both of them felt the electric that sparked between them. This doesn't change anything, Jahan said quickly. Of course not. The contract is still valid and my shop stay. Absolutely. And you are still frustrating. I won't argue with that. Then look at the bracelet on his waist, the little flower charm caught in the sunlight, shining like a promise. Okay, he whispered, I'll wear it, but just because it's pretty, of course, and I am not forgive you for the contraction material. Wouldn't dream of it. Then walk away, shaking his head. A jungle sighed, a smile that tugged at his lip. He was winning. 3 weeks later, the storm Jungkook was reviewing some document in his penthouse apartment when the first crack of thunder shook the building. He glanced at the window, surprised by the sudden fury of the weather. It had been sunny just hour ago. The rain began in sheets so heavy that he could barely see the street below. The wind hollow, rattling the window. This was no ordinary storm. This was a hypothon that had been forced, but that everyone had hoped would miss. John's shop had a small greenhouse attached to the back, a fragile structure that housed his most delicate flower. Jungkook was already running. He pulled on a coat, grabbed a flashlight, and crept down the stair. The elevator was too slow. He took the emergency stair, taking them two at a time. When he brushed outside, he saw the damage immediately. Thing having had been thrown away, water was flowing toward the front of the shop. And the greenhouse in the back had partly collapsed. Thing was in the middle of it all, soaking wet, trying desperately to rescue his precious flower. He was carrying pot after pot into the main shop, his face scratched with rain and tears. Jungkook shouted over the wind, "Leave them, get inside. Those are my grandmother orchids." Taehyung shouted back. Can't let them. Jungkook fought his way through the wind and rain. He grabbed Taehyung's arm. "I'll help you carry them, but you are coming with me. This is dangerous." Taehyung looked at him. Rain is streaming down his face. "Jungkook, you are coming to my apartment." Jungkook said, "Family, we'll come back for the rest later. Right now, I'm getting you to safety for once." Then didn't argue. He nodded, clutching a pot of orchids to his chest. Jungkook guided him up the stairs, each step difficult against the howling wind. They reached Jungkook's penthouse apartment, soaking wet and shivering. Jungkook immediately grabbed the thickest towel from his bathroom. "Here, dry off. I'll get you something to wear." Taehyung stood in the middle of the elegant apartment, water dropping around his feet. He looked completely out of place. A wild, beautiful creatures. "Your floor is getting ruined." Taehyung said, "I don't care about the floor." Jungkook said, "I care about you." Taehyung finally looked up, meeting Jungkook's eyes. Something shifted between them. All the fire, all the argument, all the tension. It had been built to this. Jungkook handed him a black silk shirt. "It's clear. Go change." Taehyung went into the bathroom. When he emerged, he was wearing Jungkook's shirt. It was enormous of him, falling past his things, his damp hair curled against his forehead, and he looked impossibly beautiful. Jungkook breathed catch in his throat. "Why, Mr. Jian?" Taehyung asked, a teasing smile playing on his lips. "You brought me so close to you just to clear the shop. By the way, your shirts look better on me than he was off your face." Jungkook laughed, shaking his head. I know. You make fun of me. You know it." and you still brought me here. I had no regrets. Taehyung walked closer, his bare feet silence on the marble floor. Jungkook, yes. Why are you being so good at me? I've been nothing but difficult. Jungkook stepped closer because you are worth it. Every fight, every argument, every thorn rose on my car. You are worth all of it. Young eyes widened. You really mean that? I will mean anything more. The storm raged outside, but inside everything was still. Jungkook reached out gently, cupping Taehyung's face. Tae, he whispered, I know, this is fast, I know. We've been enemies, but I can't pretend anymore. Every day I watch you fight for your shop and I think about you, what it would be like to fight for you instead, to have you on my side, to hold you when storm comes. Then I fill with tears. Jungkook, let me love you. Jungkook said, please. Then shoved forward, crushing his lip against Jungkook. It wasn't gentle, it was desperate, hungry, like they'd been starving for this their whole life. Jungkook pulled him closer, his arm wrapped around Taehyung's waist. The oversized shirt was soft, his finger, Taehyung's body was warm against his, molding perfectly. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. The shirt is yours, Jungkook whispered, and so are you? Taehyung smiled, really smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing Jungkook had ever seen. Is that so? That's the deal. I get the shirt, I get the boy. No return. Taehyung laughed, a clear laugh sound that Jungkook had been dreaming about. I can't return it anyway. I think I'm addicted to you. How addicted? Hopelessly, Taehyung admitted, completely irrevocably. Jungkook kissed him again, softer this time. Then we are the same boat because I've been drowning in you from the moment you kicked open my door. They stood there wrapped in each other's arms as the storm raged outside, and for the first time in Jungkook's life, he didn't care about businesses, he didn't care about success, he cared about them. 6 months passed faster than either of them expected. Taehyung's shop continued to Jungkook's face a cafe took shape around it. They found a way to coexist, and more than that, they found a way to fall deep, hopelessly in love. Every day, Jungkook would descend from his penthouse to buy flowers from Taehyung. Every day, Taehyung would bring coffee to Jungkook, contractions hide. They, they they found about small things, whose turn it was to choose dinner, what color the cafe was would be, whatever orchids or roses were superior flower, but they always made up. Usually, with the cafe was nearly finished when Jungkook Driver made his move when Jiho had been trying to acquire Jungkook building for years. He lost businesses to Jungkook repeatedly, and he was bitter about it. And now he saw his chance. If the cafe couldn't open on time, Jungkook would face significant losses. If Taehyung could be foresaw Jungkook's attention would be divided. Jiva sent his goons on a Friday afternoon. Taehyung was alone in the shop arranging a wedding flower for a young couple. He heard the rumble of heavy footsteps and looked up to see large man on his door. Mr. Kim, the leader said, his voice cold. We are here to collect. This building belongs to Mr. Min. Now you need to vacate. Hung hands still on the flower. I have a contract, 6 months remaining. The contract is void. Mr. Min has take over the building. That's not how contract work. Taehyung said, his voice steady, desperate. He's racing hard, and I know for a fact that Jungkook is still on this building. The goon's face twitched. Are you going to make this difficult, pretty boy? Taehyung stood by, slowly wiping his hand on the apron. I was thinking of making it beautiful. He reached behind him and grabbed the largest, heaviest vase he could find. It was a family heirloom, thick, sturdy ceramic filled with water and roses. The goon loved forward. Taehyung swung the vase with all his strength. It connected with the goon's head with a sickening crack. The water and flour went everywhere, but the man collapsed like a sack of potatoes. Oops, Taehyung said flatly. I sleep. The remaining two goons hesitated, not expecting this. Jungkook burst through the back door, followed by a team of security guards. Taehyung hit took in the sense the unconscious man. The shutter was the water everywhere, and Taehyung standing in the middle of it all, looking like a are you okay? Jungkook demanded, rushing to him. I'm fine, Taehyung said, but that was my grandmother's. Jungkook laughed in disbelief, pulling him into a tight embrace. Oh, you are insane. You know that, right? You love it. I love everything about you. The security team handled the remaining goons. They were handcuffed and handed over to the police. Jungkook watched them being led away. They turned to him. I think it's time I made some change. What kind of change? Jungkook smiled mysteriously. You all see. The grand opening of Jungkook Cafe arrived sooner than everyone expected. The entire space had been transferred into something mechanical and magical. All warm lighting, elegant furniture, and beautiful flowers. The flower Jungkook had instinct that every arrangement in the cafe come from Taehyung's shop. He made sure the contract was extended for 5 more years. He made sure Taehyung felt valuable, but that was just the beginning. The opening night was good. Media outlets had shown up, influencers, celebrities, and business leaders filled the space. The champagne flowed and the music was elegant. Taehyung stood near the flower display head, cricket, smiling at the guests who admired his work. Then the light dimmed. A spotlight appeared on the small stage. Jungkook emerged, looking more handsome than ever in his perfectly tall rod-like suit. His hair was styled fearlessly, and there was a nervous energy to him that Taehyung sensed. Ladies and gentlemen, Jungkook said into the microphone, "Thank you for being here tonight. The cafe represents my dream, but it also represents something much more important." The crowd quieted. Jungkook I found Taehyung. Represents new beginning. It represents taking someone ordinary and making it extraordinary, and it represents the most beautiful person I ever met. Taehyung had to stop it. Came Taehyung. Jungkook called out, "Will you come up here?" The crowd parted. Taehyung looked forward on trembling leg, his face flushed. "Jungkook, what are you doing?" "Making a point," Jungkook said softly. To the whole world, he dropped to on one knee. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. Taehyung's hand flew to his mouth. "Taehyung," Jungkook said, pulling out a velvet box. "You kicked open the door to my cabin." And at that very moment, you broke the door to my heart forever. I was so caught up in businesses, in profit, in what I thought I wanted, and then you show up angry and beautiful and you changed everything. He opened the box. Inside was a shining diamond ring surrounded by tiny rubies that looked like flower petals. "Make me not just a tenant in your shop, but the owner of your entire life," Jungkook said, his voice trembling. "Will you marry me?" Taehyung was crying. He couldn't help it. The tears streamed down his face as he looked at the man he loved kneeling before him with all his heart on display. "Yes," Taehyung whispered, then louder, "Yes." He pulled Jungkook to his feet, wrapping his arms around him in front of the whole world. The crowd in cheered. Jungkook lifted him, spinning him around. "I love you," Jungkook whispered in his ear. "I love you too, so much." "You do," Taehyung said. The wedding was 3 months later. Taehyung's grandmother, Orchid, was part of every arrangement. Taehyung himself had groomed all the flowers, them for months in anticipation of the big day. The venue was incredible and beautiful. Garden assets that Jungkook had rented for the occasion. White chairs lined the sides. Jungkook stood at the door looking like a Greek god in his black tuxedo. His hair was perfect. His smile was radiant. He's been nervous all morning, but the moment he saw Taehyung walking down the aisle, all his anxiety disappeared. Taehyung was in a stunning white suit that held his body perfectly. His hair was styled softly, and his smile was so bright it could have powered the sun. He carried a bunch of white roses and lilies. You look gorgeous, Jungkook whispered as Taehyung reached him. You don't look so bad, said Taehyung whispered back, a little overdressed for a flower shop owner. Some things are worth dressing up for. The ceremony was beautiful. They exchanged both the wearing themselves. Jungkook Taehyung began his voice, steady, desperate, the tears in his eyes. I was furious with you. I was ready to fight you for my soul and my life. I had no time that you were about to become my entire world. You changed everything. You made me believe in second chance. You made me believe in love. Jungkook eyes shining down, you broke thought all my was. You showed me that there more to life than success. That true happiness comes from the people we love. I didn't want to leave your shop there. I wanted to leave my heart with you forever. They exchanging, they said I do, and when Jungkook and husband, the crowd in happiness. The reception was everything they dream of. There was dancing, laughing, and more champagne than another could drink. Flower every table. Jungkook cafe staff had the whole event, but the best part came after when the reception ended and all the guests had left. Jungkook carried them over the household of their newly decorated bedroom. It was beautiful, all soft color, elegant furniture, and fresh flower. The winter wear flower cafe, Taehyung said, smiling up at Jungkook. I still can't believe you named it that. I wanted something that responded both of us. Jungkook said, Winter Bear was my nickname as a child, and you are my flower. I love it. Taehyung whispered, I love you, everything. Jungkook said him down gently, and now Taehyung smiled, this mischievous smile that Jungkook had fallen in love with. So, Mr. Husband, Taehyung said, stepping closer, how do you intend to pay tonight rent, or is there still a legal notice pending? Jungkook laughed, pulling Taehyung close. You are never letting me forget that, are you? Never. Jungkook and found Taehyung waist. They are together. The rent of love, Jungkook said, will be enough for the rest of our life. Taehyung's hands come up to Jungkook, tied slowly, desperately, to begin to untie it. Is that so? Taehyung pushed Jungkook gently backward until his knee hit the bed. Jungkook fell back, laughing as Taehyung climbed over him. I love you, Taehyung whispered, running a finger down Jungkook. I love you so much. It hurts sometimes. Jungkook breathed. I love you since you threw those at me. I love you since you let me keep myself. That was self observation. I didn't want you to come after me with another voice. Taehyung laughed, the sound like music, maybe, but I also think you just couldn't. Me, guilty and charged. Jungkook pulled Taehyung down, capturing his in a. It was everything, the love, the passion, the promise of forever, and they lay there in each other's arms, surrounded by Taehyung, beautiful flower, and Jungkook, luxurious comfort. They know they found exactly what they'd been looking for, a love that would last forever, a love that had started with the kicked open door and ended up with two hearts beat as one.